Hey everybody, hope this finds you doing well. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. We're going to talk about two stalwarts in their respective spaces. We're going to talk about Bitcoin and we're going to talk about Apple. Bitcoin, of course, is the top cryptocurrency by market cap, currently trading at just over $34,000. It's been on a bit of a run, like many other cryptocurrencies, over the past couple of weeks. As you can see, it is currently now, at the time of this recording, up over 15% over the last 7 days. And then we'll also talk about Apple, which actually has been on a bit of a correction with along with other tech stocks. And Apple is the largest company by market cap in the world, or I should say publicly traded company in the world. They're currently trading at 2.63 trillion. And at one point last year, it actually traded at its all-time high above $3 trillion. So obviously, there's something that Apple is doing right, and there's something that Bitcoin is doing right, even though Bitcoin has no central authority. There is no one person that runs Bitcoin. Unlike Apple, it is a decentralized, fully decentralized platform, and it is a currency. So it's not producing any type of product. The only thing that it is doing is creating. You can mine Bitcoin to create more Bitcoin, but as we know, it is a finite supply. So let's just go a little bit more further into what traditional currencies have and why it's considered valuable, and why Bitcoin falls in that category and how it stands apart from other cryptocurrencies. So as you can see here, you have to look at 6 criteria that people look at to see what is a currency: and scarcity, divisibility, acceptability, portability, durability, and uniformity are criterion that has to be met in order to be considered a currency. But Bitcoin is not only a currency, it is also considered a store of value. That's why a lot of people are now calling it, or have been calling it, digital gold, because gold was considered a place that people would put their money as a store of value, because there were times when governments would print more money, as we've seen in the United States over the last few years when we had the worldwide pandemic, and that then increases the supply when they print more money. So in turn, the value of that money, that currency, lowers. With Bitcoin, there's only going to be a finite supply. With gold, there's still gold to be discovered, but it's still limited. So that's why a lot of people found value in gold, not only because of the different ways that you could use gold in terms of making jewelry and things of that nature, but also these gold bricks that a lot of people valued. You could sell for a certain amount of fiat currency, and a lot of times the value would either stay the same or increase depending on the fiat currency that was being used to trade that gold. So with Bitcoin, one advantage that it has over gold is the fact that it's not a large physical piece that you have to try to move and lug around from one place to another. As long as you have an internet connection, you can move Bitcoin from your cell phone easily using a QR code easily. So you can have that value exchanged without any centralized authority that could be hacked. At least as far as we know right now, Bitcoin is unhackable. Now, time will tell, so that's why it is still a very risky investment. You don't want to put all of your money into Bitcoin, but we are not financial advisors, so do as you will. But it is definitely still considered a very speculative asset, and you want to make sure that you understand what you're getting into before you put your money into this new currency. Because once again, Bitcoin has not been around for very long. It was started in 2008 and its first transaction was in 2009. So we're still only 14 years in at this point. The volatility in Bitcoin is high. You can see that we've had drops, and this is a little bit of an older chart because this only goes back to 2021, because we've actually gone lower than this 51% since 2021. But as you can see, it's susceptible to large price swings. It's gone down 40%, 56%, 30 something percent, then 80%, back to 50%, then 80 something percent again, bunch of 30% drops, another 80 something percent drop, then a 60% drop, a 50% drop. So there's a ton of Bitcoin crashes that has happened, but what's been interesting is that it continues to resurrect each time and comes back even stronger. So our last all-time high in Bitcoin was 69,000. So many people are speculating that it's going to be much higher than that when we go on another bull run, which many people think is going to happen in 2024 and 2025 after the Bitcoin halving, which reduces the amount of Bitcoin reward that a miner gets from mining Bitcoin. That is supposed to be happening around April 2024. So once again, the supply is finite and it's limited. A lot of people are not selling their Bitcoin. There's been reports lately that over the past 2 years, over 70% of Bitcoin holders have not sold any of their Bitcoin. And we're hearing a lot about this Bitcoin ETF that's supposed to be coming out that we've talked about many times. And I'm sure you've heard a lot about it over the last several weeks and several months that there's a potential Bitcoin ETF coming. And if that happens, then that means more money is going to potentially be looking to get into Bitcoin. So that's going to be more demanded with the lower supply. So that only means that Bitcoin could go up much higher from where we are now in the $34,000 range. So if we take a look at just a few little funny quips from Bitcoin history, Bitcoin Pizza Day, which is May 22nd, is actually the first ever real world Bitcoin transaction when a guy was able to buy two pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. Now, today, that 10,000 Bitcoin, which at the time was only worth about $30, is now worth over $340 million. So that's why you hear the stats of how many people are holding on to their Bitcoin. Over 70% over the last 2 years have not sold because they don't want to be like Mr. Laszlo over here. Another graphic that just kind of shows you the value of Bitcoin over time, combining what we said we're going to talk about, Bitcoin and Apple. This is how much Bitcoin it took to buy an iPhone, the iPhone 4S in 2011. Then it became 52 Bitcoin. Then it became 5 Bitcoin. And these are all the following years from 2011, how much Bitcoin it was going to take to buy an iPhone. And over this time, the iPhone also went up in price. But as you can see, it became less and less Bitcoin. So it shows in the inverse that basically Bitcoin is continuing to gain value not only against the dollar, but against real world assets. Now, why is Apple at the top of the heap? Let's go to their chart. As I mentioned, Apple is the largest publicly traded company in the world, currently worth over $2.6 trillion, just alongside other technological stocks. Apple has been on a little bit of a downturn over the past month, but year to date, it is actually up over 34%. So it's still doing very well. So let's compare it to Bitcoin year to date. So you can see Bitcoin has over 3x the performance of Apple over the last almost 11 months now. Let's look at 5 years. Double the performance of Apple. And Apple has done incredible over the last 5 years. Getting a 200+% return over 5 years is amazing in the stock market. And if we go to Max, obviously Apple was started in the 80s. But if we look here, looks like they only have information from 2015 on forward. I mean, Apple has done a ridiculous ascent since its beginnings, but look how long it has taken compared to Bitcoin. Only in 14 years, it's done over 10,000%. Apple amazingly has done over 186,000% since it first dropped on the stock market. Pretty spectacular. So why is Apple at the top of the heap? So as you can see here, these are the rankings. Apple on top at 2.6 trillion, Microsoft nipping at its heels at 2.45 trillion, As you can see, gas companies, Saudi Aramco. Then you have Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Facebook, Berkshire Hathaway, shout out to Warren Buffett, Tesla, and Eli Lilly coming into the top 10 pharmaceutical company. So Apple has been managed extremely well. They have over $160 billion in cash and investments. Many people are speculating that they should consider buying Disney, all of Disney, which has been on a major downfall and hasn't seen any type of recovery and is currently, I believe, valued at around 160 billion right now. So Apple could just take all their cash and just throw it at Disney and say, hey, we'll buy Disney. Now, is that likely going to happen? Probably not, but could they potentially buy some different divisions of Disney? Sure, that's a possibility. Could they buy Hulu or buy ESPN? Sure. Easy money. As you can see here, cash and investments, they have over $166 billion. And watch out, Google, which many people find to be a great buy right now, is at $149 billion in cash and investments. So when you're doing research on who you want to invest in for the long term, you want to look at the top companies and their financials and what is it that they're producing, what is their revenues, what is their earnings per share, what is their cash on hand, how are they doing year over year, what are their expenses. So there's a lot of things that you want to consider when you go into investing into a company or investing into a cryptocurrency. So this is one of the things that you may want to check out before you decide to take your hard-earned money and invest it in one of these companies. So there's a reason why Apple is at the top of the heap. There's a reason why Bitcoin is at the top of the heap. They both have incredible advantages over a lot of the others in their asset class. This is Apple's profit. They had a profit of nearly $100 billion in 2022. And this is a basic breakdown of all their expenses and then their net sales. And you can see here they get most of their money from the iPhone. Now, one of the reasons why they've been going down over the past month is people are speculating that there's a possibility that their iPhone sales will be going down because people are holding onto their phones a little bit longer. These smartphones can last a lot longer than what they used to. There actually was a lawsuit versus Apple because they were slowing down their phones on purpose, obviously, for people to at some point turn around and buy a new one. So Apple has found ways to get people hooked in their system, and the symmetry between all of their different products is seamless. And people want easy. Their iPhone connects flawlessly with the AirPods, with the Mac computer, with the iPad, with the watch, and then, of course, the Apple Store. So these are important things that you want to consider as you're looking to invest and learn about investing. First off, you want to look at who's at the top. Why are they at the top? So just some food for thought. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you. As usual, you can check us out on X and on IG nearly every day. Thanks again. Looking forward to linking up with you soon on the Networkchain. Bye-bye.